Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael, and today we're getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to like and subscribe. This first post was created about 3 months ago in the advice subreddit by a user named It's Everly Bear. The post is titled, I am a 24-year-old female. My 54-year-old aunt and 31-year-old female cousin are pressuring me to give my cousin my baby. My cousin has just had a stillbirth and I want to be there for her, but it has gotten so overwhelming. How can I balance and manage my familial relationships while pregnant? I am currently 24 weeks pregnant with a girl. Although she was an unexpected surprise, my partner, 24 male, and I are ecstatic and look forward to parenthood. I lost my mom when I was young, so we are planning to name this baby after her. Most of my family and friends have been really supportive of me and my pregnancy as I enter this new stage of life. However, my cousin and my aunt, who tried to act as a mother figure and a female role model to me and my sister since my mother's passing, have been causing issues. My cousin has been struggling with infertility for about 5 years now and has witnessed its ups and downs. Me, my sister, and all of our family members have been trying our best to be sensitive to her circumstances and have been supporting her through the process. She had a miscarriage 5 years ago and was diagnosed with having a diminished ovarian reserve 2 years ago, meaning that her egg quantity and quality are considerably lower compared to other women her age. She immediately started the IVF process, and after 2 rounds, she miraculously got pregnant in late 2022. She had complications with the pregnancy, including preeclampsia, and went into labor at over 30 years old 2 weeks in the summer. Unfortunately, her baby girl was very weak at birth and died hours after she was born. Everything my cousin has struggled with over the past 5 years hit her hard, and she suffered from extreme depression for months afterward. She has refused to seek therapy, which we believe would be beneficial to her state, apart from a couple of appointments initially, because she says she feels misunderstood and angry towards the professionals trying to make her feel better. She still desperately wants a baby, but refuses to seek treatments again due to trauma and a lack of hope. I hope this context helps y'all understand the situation I'm going to talk about, and if applicable, provide any advice to help us guide our cousin to some sense of recovery. After finding out about my pregnancy, I announced it to my family and friends in February. I made sure to text and tell my cousin individually before she heard about my pregnancy elsewhere so she could initially process the news herself. According to my other cousins and aunt, she did not take the news well and went into a rage. When I saw her afterward, she was more reserved and rather cold. A week later, she said she wanted to hang out and have a private one-to-one chat, which I agreed to. We talked over ice cream and returned to her and her husband's home. She showed me her baby stuff that had been untouched for months since her loss. She told me she saw so much of the baby she lost last year in my own baby and how God brought my baby into our lives for a special reason. She asked me if I'd be willing to allow her to adopt this baby into her home to be raised by her and her husband. I refused. She asked why. For lack of a better and stronger response at the moment, I said that both I and my partner wanted to care for our child and that I was sorry for her loss. I made sure to say that I was sure a miracle would come her way. She blew up at me and called me a bunch of names. I knew she was struggling and very traumatized, so I tried not to let her words of the moment get to me. She said how my partner and I didn't deserve our baby because we weren't married yet. We are engaged and planning the wedding for next year. She added how she and her husband could provide our baby with a better and more stable life as more deserving and respectable parents. She then kicked me out. My aunt later texted and called me trying to reason with me on my refusal. She said I should give my baby to her daughter. She emphasized that I would still get to see her as she would be within the family, and that I could have more kids later on as I was still young. She said that babies were more than fun little humans and that based on her experience nurturing me, I wasn't ready yet. She continued with this pressure and guilt trip. She apparently gave out my number to her other relatives and friends at church. They have also been texting me and urging that I be more sympathetic to my cousin and her situation. My relatives were more chill, but her church friends were saying terrible and demeaning things about me, so I blocked them. I try to avoid my aunt and my cousin as much as I possibly can. I want to be there for my cousin, but it's becoming really difficult. My aunt has been trying to dictate my life and choices as my only motherly figure since I was a child, and she won't stop. I found out my cousin has been telling people that she is soon having a baby and that her life will be complete again. They think I'll come around and be overwhelmed once I face the realities of parenthood. This is all just so crazy and frightening to me. If you have any advice or just ways to de-stress in general, please let me know. OP's aunt and cousin are absolute psychopaths. At first, I wanted to feel sorry for the cousin about her situation, but after hearing OP's story, it's tough to feel any sympathy. I actually can't believe that the cousin asked why when OP told her that she couldn't have her child. I'm personally not religious, but I find it hilarious that this woman tried to use her religion and God as an excuse to have the kid. I'm not sure if this is possible since the aunt and cousin haven't actually done anything yet, but if I were OP, I would definitely try to get a restraining order out. But again, I don't think that's possible at the current stage. Nevertheless, I'd look for any little excuse to get one. As OP gets closer and closer to her due date, I'm sure the cousin and aunt are going to get increasingly manic. If anything, the cousin is the one who is not fit to be a parent for thinking that something like this is okay. Again, I want to feel sympathy for the woman, but it's tough. OP told us that the cousin has gone through a lot of therapy, but it doesn't seem to be helping. In fact, it seems to piss her off even more. The woman is just dealing with an extreme amount of trauma that I'm not sure how to fix. One user named DoksunMom5 said the following: "You need to change your phone number. Do not give it to anyone that may possibly give it to your aunt or cousin. Lock down your medical information with the hospital and OBGYN. They should be able to put a passcode and an alert on your records so someone can't call with your name and date of birth to access information. Move if you can. Do not give your address to anyone that you don't have to. If you can't move, get security cameras that record sound. Document everything with screenshots of what's happened. Be prepared for DCS to call on you or them to show up demanding the baby or both. Meet with a lawyer to discuss a cease and desist letter. One to go to your aunt and cousin telling them that your baby is not up for adoption and any further contact or harassment will be reported to the police. You need to protect yourself and be paranoid. Any family that doesn't realize how toxic and unhinged they are is not on your side and needs to be cut off until you are sure you and your baby are safe." Another user named It's Okay to Go Back to Sleep said this: "I'd be putting up security measures as soon as possible if you don't already have them in place. Alarm system, cameras indoors and out, locks on all your doors, etc. And when or if they do something super crazy, call the police and file a report, even if it's minimally crazy. You will want a paper trail. You should also consider changing your number and making some serious boundaries with family members you feel you can trust, like that you do not want to be put into any social situations with these women, or that you don't want your number shared going forward without your permission, etc." Another comment left by user Balmone said, "Your cousin has been through a lot and refuses to get professional help, and your aunt enables her. It's crazy to me that they even came up with that idea. Stay away from them. Do not go to see them by yourself. Make sure you're with your partner or at the very least a trusted friend. These people are insane and the harassment could increase considering your aunt already gave away your number. Stand your ground, that's your baby, and you are not responsible for your cousin's infertility. She can try and adopt a child if she really wants to, but she cannot demand you give her yours. That's crazy, and they all sound crazy. I know it doesn't seem that way to you because you love them and they're your family, but stay away from them for the time being, enjoy your pregnancy, and if they keep harassing you, tell them you'll get a restraining order." About 2 months later, OP provided us with an update. Note: thank you all for the advice and new perspectives you gave me from my last post. I just wanted to update on the situation now with my cousin as things have occurred in the last 2 months. I am now 8 months pregnant and feeling okay. My partner and I have quietly moved and very few people know our new address. My cousin and aunt both know we have moved but do not know where. We also recently got married in a small private ceremony. We will likely do a bigger ceremony next year. I am not sure what the situation with my cousin and aunt will be like next year and whether they will be invited to our bigger wedding, especially with the baby. So far, my partner's family has been very supportive and understanding of me and the circumstances. I feel less alone and more confident with their support. We have also taken other precautions related to the birth and security. The baby is doing all right, and we are both very excited about the birth and meeting our sweet baby girl. We already adore her and are ready to protect her. Unfortunately, my cousin is still baby crazy and desperately wants a baby to fix her life. I found out through gossip from friends and relatives and other sources that she has been engaging in questionable and rather predatory social media behavior. She has been joining pregnancy and baby-related groups and reaching out to vulnerable members who have shared their struggles offering to take/adopt their babies. She apparently harassed a young widow for her baby in an effort to save the child and has gotten banned from a considerable amount of groups and communities that way. She has also been more active on social media with posts and is publicly sharing her fertility struggles and considering IVF treatment again. Beyond her social media activities, I found out that she is waiting for my child to be born and wants to regain proper contact with me as before my pregnancy. I have blocked her on most sources of communication, and I don't believe she has tried to contact me so far. My aunt is still upset with me and bad-mouthing me to other family and her church friends. I am sometimes getting hostile text messages / voicemails and even phone calls from those she poisoned against me, but no physical confrontations since I've moved and don't attend church. My aunt is also pressing my father for details about me to get in contact again. I haven't told him much about our move, and he has promised to keep any sensitive information about me private, especially from my aunt cousin and those in the family that are close to them. Out of the two, my aunt has definitely been the more aggressive one towards me. In May, right before my move, she came to my apartment and waited outside in the parking lot until I got home from work. I thought she was going to cuss me out, but she said she wanted to catch up with me at the cafe near the church and asked me which car I wanted to take. Her friendliness felt very fake to me, and I was considerably uncomfortable with the whole situation, so I made excuses and refused to go. She then started gaslighting and arguing with me about everything that had been happening. She told me to just wait until the baby is born and that I will succumb to the pressures of parenting and stress in no time. She said some very hurtful things about me and my partner and said how my baby deserved to be raised in a godly household with 2 believing parents. I know she did not like my partner beforehand because he is not Christian and for other reasons, but she spoke in a very anti-Semitic about my partner. She said that she fears that my baby will be misguided and confused with her parents' religious differences, and that since I have a full-time career as well as my partner, my baby will not receive enough attention and care from my parents. She believes that a child must be raised under a strong foundational religion with a strong father and an attentive, guiding mother to succeed and not go down an amoral spiral once they get older. Apparently, only my stay-at-home cousin and her provider husband can provide these ideal conditions. Thankfully, my neighbor stopped by and her presence cooled the confrontation down. I firmly told my aunt to leave and complained to the manager about my aunt with my neighbor. I walked down the street and hid in another complex with a friend until my partner came and got me. My aunt apparently sat down at the edge of the parking lot, waiting for me as I talked to the manager in his office and left after about 30 minutes. We have this incident recorded and have taken more precautions. We have threatened my aunt with a legal action for any escalations, but we also don't want to provoke her too much and be harassed further. That incident has been causing me stress, and I will not go anywhere where my aunt or cousin will be. I have skipped 2 family events because I know they will be there. Although I feel more secure at the moment with the move and marriage, I am still very wary and wish for things to settle down after my baby's birth and with time. I plan to post another update sometime after the baby is born if nothing else major happens and when time and safety permits. Once again, thank you for your support and please take care. That's a great point that OP brought up that I'd like to quickly touch on. Currently, her cousin thinks that the introduction of a child would fix her life, but in reality, it won't do anything. Let's say OP did give her cousin the child. It is not fair to put a kid under the care of someone who is so obviously insane. She needs to better her own mental health first before she goes about getting another child. Adopting or whatever to get a kid is not going to fix anything. It might act as a band-aid, but there are more deeply seated issues. I can't believe that the cousin actually asked strangers if she could adopt their kid or kids. That's both crazy and hilarious. This is one of the comments left under this update. I have read through the post and I feel like you are not treating this with enough gravity. You and your child are in physical danger. This is not a religious issue or an adoption issue. Your cousin sounds like she is experiencing postpartum psychosis. Taking someone's baby against their will based on religious zealotry is a psychotic idea, and that's before the implied we'll all be a happy family after I hijack your kid. Psychosis often manifests with violent results. Stop talking to the church members. They are incapable of being on your side or protecting you. Start talking to lawyers. You can have them served with a formal letter telling them to stay away from you, not contact you, your job, your partner, etc. Any attempts to contact you via phone, social media, letters, or carrier pigeons will be considered harassment, and attempting to contact you in person will be considered a physical threat and treated as such. I am sorry your family is so dysfunctional. This is not normal behavior, and families have attempted to harm their relatives and kidnap their children to satisfy their deluded thinking. This is not something that will pass. This is as serious as having a stalker. Cameras do not announce status at the hospital for delivery, no visitors, baby stays in the room. You might consider getting a dog too. Even little ones are great alarms. Then, shortly after that update, OP gave us another one. This will be a small update. We got in contact with the local church leader and talked to them about the situation with my aunt and cousin, who are both active members. We talked to him for a while. He initially dismissed my concerns as a personal conflict between family and tried to refer us over to counseling services. We explained to him that my cousin was dealing with trauma from her baby's death and that she was having false hopes about adopting my baby, who would be raised in a good home. We also told him that my aunt is feeding into those hopes and has been harassing me on her behalf, causing disturbance and a lot of stress. He told me he understood my side and that he knew what my cousin had been going through with her inability to have kids. He said he would contact my aunt and cousin to see what they had to say about the situation. I talked again with him today. He said that my aunt and cousin would like to speak with me and that they were concerned that I stopped communicating with them, especially since I moved away. I explained to him that their behavior regarding my baby influenced me to do those things and pressed him on what they said. He said that my cousin had talked with a church therapist and was looking into adoption to start a family because her IVF treatments were likely not going to produce a child with her condition. I emphasized to him that I was not giving up my baby and that my cousin had been thinking such. He said that he understood that and started asking me for personal details on how I was doing now. He was again trying to set up a meeting between us and my aunt cousin and referring us to services. I told him I was not comfortable with that at the moment, and he told me to at least call my cousin once. He said he would meet with my aunt on Sunday since I was too scared to do it on my own. Our call ended after that. I'll comment any update on what he says in the coming days under this post. Edit: I am not satisfied with his response and do not like that he is putting pressure on me to reconnect with my aunt and cousin. He says he understands my concerns, but I think he is being rather dismissive of them and trying to force us to resolve our issues. My partner and I thought it was worth a shot reaching out to him because he has influence and religious authority over my aunt and cousin. I'll see what he says on the next phone call and see what I can do to make him care more. Edit: to make clear, I didn't give him any personal information and have no plans for any in-person meeting with my aunt and cousin. We are in contact with legal help. We do not live in Utah. Update: we spoke again with the bishop. He said that there isn't much he can personally do to resolve the situation within his capacity between me and my aunt cousin other than refer to counseling services. I asked him if he met with my aunt and he said he did. Their conversation was focused on my cousin and helping her heal. He told me my cousin was also grieving the loss of communication with me and my sister, who hasn't been talking much to her anymore. I told him that my cousin was trying to take my baby to replace hers and that her and my aunt's behavior was threatening the safety and well-being of me and my family. I think he was losing interest in the conversation, so he just told me to do whatever I feel is best for my family, but to consider the grief my cousin has been through and contact family counseling services for further help on this matter. Me and my partner sent him an email afterwards with a copy to our lawyer to close off communication. I decided to unblock my cousin and send her a message. I told her that my partner and I are keeping our baby and that is not up for discussion. I encouraged her to seek proper therapy if she hasn't already done so, and told her that I am not comfortable with her husband, or my aunt being involved in my child's life. She hasn't responded yet. Regardless of what she says, our relationship will not return to as it was before, and she will not be a part of my child's life. There really isn't too much else to say. My sentiments in my first comments are the exact same right now. OP and her husband need to do all that they can to avoid the aunt and cousin. I'm sure they will try additional tactics to get to OP's kid. One user named 100mil said this: "Get away from them and that evil church. If that bishop was asking you personal questions about you and your partner, he was doing it to use the information against you. Do not underestimate how evil LDS Mormons can be. If you live in the Utah area, the church controls the courts, and they could try and take your baby. Do not give them any more information about you and yours." I was born into an uber Mormon family. I'm not spitting this out of nowhere. Another user named Amaralaya left the following comment: "Why are you even risking it? He will get your address and then pass it on to your aunt. They may try to follow you back home after that meeting to know where you live. Possibly find out other details too, like your hospital address, from the church leader, and they can get there with the excuse of checking on you and getting your baby. I've heard of real cases where they took the newborn baby to another state from the hospital itself, so it will be harder for the police to track them down. Please don't associate with them any longer, not the church and not your auntie and cousin either. Don't risk your baby being kidnapped. You're the one who will suffer at the end. Trust me, the church won't be able to help you if things go wrong. If it's possible, move somewhere as far as you can for the sake of your baby's safety. Another comment that was left was made by a user named ChanceProcedure9534 said this: OP, you cannot and will not make him care. You have no control over this situation because they have their own perception that appears to be distrustful of you and manipulative. I know it can be very difficult to accept, but your aunt, cousin, and church leader are not confused, misinformed people who will the light if I just explain it this specific way and get my point across. They know this hurts you, they know you do not want to give up your baby, they know this can affect your mental health and the pregnancy, they know this is dangerous behavior, and they do it anyway. You really love your baby, and it shows that you are just doing your best while incredibly distressed by this unfair situation. Please protect your baby from these people and cut them off, or they will most definitely not hesitate to put your baby in danger to meet your cousin's needs. Frankly, a baby is not the answer to the grief of losing a baby/being infertile. Grief is the answer to grief. Your cousin has some serious work to do, and it does not involve taking anyone's baby. A user named Sweetie Sweet said this: why would you go to the church? The Mormon church isn't going to do shit for you. You need more help than what they would ever do for you. If anything, their involvement is going to make things harder. I wouldn't tell your new address to anyone who might give it to your aunt or cousin. I also wouldn't go anywhere alone until after you have given birth. I'm talking when the baby is a couple of months old. This all is so alarming to me. They seem beyond desperate. Desperate people do dangerous things. You need to be concerned about you and your baby's safety. There are no get-togethers with them anymore. Don't invite them to your wedding. They basically see you as your cousin's baby's incubator, which is not true at all. I hope things work out for you. It's insane what your family is putting you through. Also, prepare for this behavior each pregnancy if you have any more kids. I would honestly go no contact if I were you. Edited to add, I knew a snooty woman when I was pregnant. She was also Mormon. My best friend worked for her at the time. The woman was the worst. She told my best friend I needed to give my son up for adoption to a mom and dad who could properly love and take care of him. I'm a single mom. My son is 6 now and thriving. I feel like kids who are raised in strict religious households turn out way more fucked up than kids who aren't.